Who would have thought this happened? Shout out Jake Fisher for some of the information about the concept going back last week. And we're hearing that in this deal, where Kevin Huerter, Chicago, Zach LaVine to Sacramento, and of course, Aaron Fox heading to his wife's hometown of San Antonio to join Victor Wembanyama. Yes, what a time. Dang, green screen off a little bit right there. And let's slide into position. And this is the craziest thing. We didn't think this deal was going to happen imminently. We made a report earlier today off of what I believe it was Ham or one of the local beat reporters. Sorry that we're blanking on your name, but we speculated off that report that maybe they're just trying to posture, but the deal comes out. So let's continue to hear what we're hearing. So Chris Haynes now adds in, shout out Chris B. Haynes for some of this report, as I know I'm a bit just enthralled by the idea of De'Aaron Fox throwing lobs to Victor Wembanyama. It's kind of a perfect fit. To me, I think it's a great deal because Sacramento gets themselves along with 3 first-round picks and Zach LaVine, while they discard the contract of Kevin Huerter, which they had been wanting to get themselves out of for a while. To me, this is one of those deals that sounds like everybody won. Everybody won. Let me hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think? Because at this point, everybody's about winners or losers. But if I'm San Antonio, I got the point guard of the future to go with my guy, Victor Wembanyama. I've always said it before that the fact is when you have a guy like Victor Wembanyama, you got to do the NFL age-old adage that is, when you have a quarterback on a rookie scale contract, you got to go all in. And that's what they're doing right here with Victor Wembanyama. He's still cheap. They don't have long-term money, and they already have all the pieces, the veterans, how you would want this to look. And as a result, you're putting yourself into a position where you'd hope that they're going to be able to contend for a playoff spot this year. Yeah, I'm not going to say a championship, but the championship is obviously window is slowly opening for the San Antonio Spurs, as I do believe they're looking at this as a way for them to get themselves into a position where they can contend for a champion, where they can tell people, hey, come to San Antonio, it's actually fun here. Look, we have Victor Wembanyama, we have De'Aaron Fox. And to me, I love that they have an all-star point guard center duo with De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, the rest of the guys there, or Devin Vassell is one of my favorite and most. I think somehow he's become underrated in the last year or so. It feels like people forgot, but and my apology if that these depth charts, shout out my work, I work at Hoops Hype, that we have right here the depth charts of each team. This is prior to the trades because the trade just happened, so they have not been updated. However, I want to just put visual aids into what each team looks like in terms of their depth chart. Let's start here with the San Antonio Spurs. The rest of the squad, it seems that you would think putting Kevin Huerter in there, you get some more length. Why does Billy Donovan just like to have weird squads? And I know Chicago's didn't really load that great, so we're just going to take it off because it doesn't look that great. Yeah, I'm thinking right here that the way that I think everyone on the whole is shocked by this is interesting. Shams just put out the full trade. So Zach LaVine, Sidy Cissoko, 3 first-round picks, the 2025 Charlotte, the 2027 San Antonio, 2020, the 2031 Minnesota are the first-round picks. De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin are going to the Spurs. And Tre Jones, Kevin Huerter, and Zach Collins, and the 2025 pick all go to the Bulls. Wow, I like that. So if we want to just revisit what we talked about, Zach Collins with Nikola Vucevic right there, the positions are all off right there, so ignore that. But Tre Jones gives him another ball handler. Kevin Huerter gives him some floor spacer. Again, I've said it before, Mr. Billy Donovan does a great job of making lemonade out of lemons. And San Antonio, now that you think you take out Tre Jones, Zach Collins, and Sidy Cissoko, Sissoko wasn't really playing at all, and you put yourself De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin, Chris Paul, you kept yourself Steph Castle. Yes, and that was the basic thing. We all talked about that. They didn't want to trade Steph Castle, and why would they? I felt like trading Steph Castle would have been dumb on their part because they didn't need to get rid of Steph Castle, like as evident by what the trade ended up being. So that the fact that they had a treasure chest of picks, so use the picks that you have. God gave them for a reason, and get yourself, who was it? De'Aaron Fox. And I just like that fit. As we said, now you got yourself De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama. I would assume Keldon will remain as 6-man unless you really want to keep Castle in the starting lineup, which I'm fine with. Like, I'm cool with it. I was just more thinking what would be long term. But shout out Charania for all the information. And that's the craziest thing about this is I think a lot of us were not expecting this massive big old deal. So, and the Bulls getting involved was not the team that I would have thought would have ended up being the facilitators to make this one happen. So shout out, they were smart. Hey, you always got to get in on these because if you don't, you're going to have a chance of missing out. And I think being able to stay on top of these stuff and be able to make sure that you can be a part of it is huge in today's NBA, because if you're late, you're out. And I think that's the biggest thing here is they did a great job of making sure that the Spurs were in the fight and took it to the end in terms of they had all the assets to get. This is the thing that pisses me off about rebuilding teams, and I think a lot of people also get pissed off, is rebuilding teams always have the assets, or not rebuilding teams, but like teams that like the Thunder and the Spurs, for example, they have all these picks, but they end up never fully using them. Like, remember when the Celtics had the pick for Brooklyn and it ended up never ever being utilized the way that people thought it would have been. So as a result, people were just like, oh damn, just felt like Danny Ainge never utilized that pick to the best of its ability. So not that it was wasted, because obviously like they won a championship and that's thanks to Danny, but I think a lot of people would agree that you naturally would assume that this would have been something that would have landed you, I don't know, would have landed you a bigger piece. And I think the Spurs were smart to get themselves that piece instead of just doing what other teams have done and just hoarding their assets and never actually fully biting on the bullet when they should have bit in like X times ago. So that's just really the point that I'm trying to make right here. And I don't know if you guys agree with me. That's just how I see it. I just feel like so many teams have the assets to get so-and-so, and then they don't, because for some reason they believe, oh, we don't need to do that. And they end up just holding themselves back from achieving what they ultimately wanted to do. And that in turn leads to them, in my opinion, not becoming the contender or the championship team that they'd hoped that they would have been, because they had all these assets, but they kept being gun shy. And I think the Spurs did what they needed to do. And instead of being gun shy, they went out and got themselves the player that they had coveted. And to me, that is the biggest type of thing that you can do. It all worked out. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you guys agree with me? I think it's definitely interesting to see how this is all going to work out, as time will tell who wins this trade. Again, the Tyrese Haliburton trade, obviously we can see who's the winner now in retrospect, which is crazy to think about because that happened not too long ago, like a lot sooner than you would imagine. And that trade's already kind of passed by. That's the crazy part about this. The NBA never sleeps. And this past 24 hours, I think exemplifies that to a T. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. That's it from me. I hope you guys did enjoy. But peace out, everybody. Bye-bye. We made the thumbnail too. Bye.